Audi TT Mk1 headlight restoration. I accept no responsibility or liability for any injury, damage or loss caused from the content of this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you find this useful.
Hi all, Andy here. Welcome back to the channel. And today we're talking headlight restoration. So I've already done the near side headlight once before, but I'm going to do it again for two reasons. One, I'm not happy with the result. Two, if I do it again, I can show you guys just how simple and easy and straightforward this is. It's probably worth pointing out, this isn't just an Audi TT fix. This is applicable to all car headlights. So if you've got cloudy headlights, you can apply this fix to your own car, even if it's not a TT. So, why restore your headlights? It's my theory that as they get cloudy, they're going to emit less light. So they're not going to be as bright on the roads. So to improve the strength of your light beam, it's probably worth doing this job. Secondly, it's an aesthetic thing. Make it look nice, make that car really pop. So to prove my theory on improving the amount of light output from the headlight, I firstly need to take a light reading from the headlight, and I'm going to use this. If you can see that, if I hold my phone back a little bit. So that app is called Lightmeter, available on the App Store. So what you do is you essentially hold it up against the headlight, like so, and it tells you in lux how much light is output from the light. So I'm going to turn the headlights on, hold this against the headlight, and let's get a light reading.
As you can see here with the headlights switched on, they look pretty hazy. This is a good reason why I need to undertake this work. I moved the phone around to various places on the headlight to get the maximum output light reading possible.
Okay, so I've got the control reading before we start the work, and it is 334,883. So we need to try and beat that once we've restored the headlight.
Firstly, mask off the paintwork with masking tape to protect it and give the headlight a wash with some soapy water. This will also act as an agent for the wet and dry sanding. Working with an orbital sander, I find, gets the initial job done in a quicker time frame and more even finish. For the first pass, use the most coarse grit of 1500 wet and dry sandpaper. Begin sanding the light to remove the top layer of opaque and cloudy glass. Giving it a rinse down between sanding shows just how much discoloration and dirt is coming off the lens. Give it a wipe with a cloth to remove the excess water and removed surface imperfections. It is one of those jobs that will look worse before it starts to look better, as the headlight may now look more opaque. This is the effect of sanding rather than the bad surface that preceded it. Next, I'm going to apply a generous layer of T-cut headlight polishing or cutting compound that will be used with the sander and a lesser grit wet and dry paper to start restoring the surface and shine. I'm applying this by hand to get a good coverage. Probably not the best way, but ensures an even application. Please also note I'm wearing my protective mask while sanding. You don't want to be breathing in plastic particles. So for the second layer of sanding and using the orbital sander once more, I've switched to a 2000 grit fine wet and dry sandpaper to smooth the light and bring the clarity back to the lens. You should start to notice the detail of the bulb shining through at this stage. Buff away any residual cutting compound and you should start to see the clarity of the headlight returning once more. Time for another layer of the headlight cutting compound and then on to the third and final sanding layer. This time the paper has been changed for a super fine 3000 grit. Following the same method as before, sand the whole lens with the finer grit to remove any scratches and marks left by the 2000 grit. Taking a cloth, buff away the compound residue once more. I think it's fairly obvious how much clearer this light already is. The inner headlight appears clear and adding a layer of water really shows this off. Time to get the car back inside the garage to add the lens sealant. Back inside the garage and you can really feel the difference on this lens now, it's so shiny and smooth. So now we need to seal the headlight lens with the T-cut headlight restoring sealant. This will protect the plastic from reacting with the environment and from being affected by sun damage. Massage this into the light using a soft cloth. With the masking tape removed, I think the results speak for themselves if you compare this light now to before we started.
So with the sealant now applied, that's pretty much the headlight finished, and I'm really quite pleased with the result. we seem to have lost all of that crazing and opaque look to the light. So yeah, I think a pretty good job done there. All we now need to do is get the Lightmeter app on my phone, take another reading, and let's see if we've got an increased lux output from the headlight. I'm pretty confident we will have, but let's give it a go. So the results are in. I've got the light reading and it is astonishing 437,647. So that's about a 30% increase in light output to what we had before, and that is fantastic, and I'm really pleased with that. So what tools and materials have I used to do this job? Not many, to be honest. So a nice orbital sander with removable pads. As you can see, the last pad I've used on there is the P3000. So that's the sort of the finest grit I've used in this job, and it's almost like a piece of paper. It's so fine. As you can see, I've got a pack of these discs here. I got them from Amazon for about £5, and I think I've got 20 discs. So with my sanding discs, I've used 3 different grits. Started with the hardest and the most coarse. So that's the 1500 grit. So I use that to initially take off all the scratches and grime and dirt. I then move down to the 2000. So that's bringing you down to a much finer finish. So you can use the polishing compound to really get into it and really start smoothing it off. And then to buff it all up and finish it off, the 3000 grit. But what products have I used to actually get that? Well, I mentioned polishing compound, and T-Cut do this headlight polishing compound and headlight restoring sealant. It comes in a kit, and I think it was about £15. I've had it for a few years because I've done this once before. There's still plenty of compound left in there, and I've got loads of sealant left in that for the light. So that's it for my headlight restoration video. I hope you found it useful. If you have, please give it a thumbs up and give it a like. If you find the content on my channel useful, don't forget to subscribe to get future updates. And thanks once again for watching. See you soon.